Yeah, I think that in light of yesterday's absence on the discussion, I think we need to have a proper discussion about fees and how and where people actually stand on fees. It's not. I don't think it's good enough just to say you're going to represent whatever the student population actually vote for. You need to actually come out and say
democracy.
Yeah, no, but I just want to say no. Yeah, no, hang on. Let me finish. I think you need to say what you actually think for yourself, because what we've had in the past is we've had student representatives who just don't believe in free education, but yet they're mandated to say they do, so yet they end up saying they do. But I think people need to say where they stand here, because Aisling has said it's not pessimistic. I think it is, because if you look at the farmers, they're taking.
So what's your question, Carol?
My farmers is.
What's your question?
People need to say where they stand on fees.
I think this question's already come up and we've pretty much just tackled it.
I'll be happy to answer that though, Carl. Completely. Like I fully believe that education should be free. But I'm not being pessimistic. I don't think it can't happen with the current economic climate we're in. What I endeavour to do, most importantly, is I want to focus on further education and post-grad grants. Let's get the government to back loan schemes. Why we can do this. This is coming through at the moment. Let's push it forward as a voice, as the unit. Let's push that forward. I personally fully, in my heart, agree that education should be free, but it can't happen in the economic climate we have. Health services are taking cuts. So many different services with the government are taking cuts, and students aren't the first to fall in line. But I don't think it can happen.
So I'm just going to come in here. If you look at it, right, the current student contribution would be €2,250. It is prohibitive. Okay. If it wasn't for the fact that so many of my friends were on grants, they wouldn't be anywhere near college. They wouldn't be able to afford that. So at the minute, because that contribution fee has been getting higher and higher and higher and higher every year, despite our marches, it has become prohibitive. And I think now is the time to look into alternative means of getting people to college, because everyone deserves an education.
James makes a good point. James.
Sorry, I want to actually just come in here and just say that I think there should be a referendum. They've been talking about it an awful lot in the Students' Union lately, and seeing what the students' stance on fees is. I would just be one vote in that referendum. Why should I taint a future campaign and say what my stance is?
Well, because you'd be the one actually representing the students.
Exactly.
No,
it's important that I be neutral and just say, if I'm only one vote in that,
because how
if
can you carry out a campaign? How can you carry out a campaign in something that you actually don't believe in?
It's something I believe in the voices of other people.
No, but I think that's an absolute cop-out. Like, how can you put your hand? How can you put trust into?
What you're
how can you put trust into a sabbatical officer to lead a campaign on your behalf?
And say, I care about what you guys
are. Something to say is, I think that the level of pessimism is rotten here. Like, and there's other candidates who are running.
15 years it's been going on.
Yeah.
People can't afford 2002.
But also, what is the strategy? What's the strategy that has been in place by UCDSU and USI?
Let's
move on. We're never going to agree on
let's move on. It's not good enough to say let's move on. No, because hang on, 15 years the
5 seconds
has been going up, but also every single year there's been a lobby, and we have a weak leadership in this. They take the farmers seriously, they take the trade unions seriously, they take the businesses seriously, but they laugh in the face of the students.
How about we ask the students what they want?
Hi guys, I'm James Atkinson, and here's my question. I'm going to direct this question at Aisling Sheeran. Aisling, you say in your manifesto that you'd like to move the bookshop to the library tunnel. I think that is a fantastic idea.
Thank you.
I really do, because it's more central and everyone needs books, and if it's in the middle of campus, you know, that the bookshop, which hasn't been performing greatly, is going to, you know, it's going to get more turnover. I think it's a fantastic idea, and I'd just love to know if you've checked out Can It Be Done, because it'll be something
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what a lot of people are unaware of is, since I'm so involved in Students' Union, I actually know where the Students' Union has rooms, and the old sabbatical officers are actually down that corridor. Yeah, and they're empty, so if you were to just move the books over, people are thinking about books when they're going through that library tunnel.
Yeah.
If they're just to take a turn off and just go into the, it makes so much sense.
Perfect, this is a great idea.
Thank you.
Three candidates, what experience do you have in active campaigning, student campaigning in previous years? I have been heavily involved in the national campaign. I was at the LGBT march and I ran the Save Our Track campaign. I have done this throughout my 3 years in college and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. What experience can you bring to this role for students, and how have you achieved that in your previous years as students at UCD?
I think it's important that you don't take credit for running the Save Our Track campaign.
I wasn't taking credit for running.
Okay,
I helped. It's not credit. It's not. No.
But to be honest, you weren't the person behind it. You didn't come up with the idea.
Yes, Aisling. Yes, I did completely. This, when I heard about it straight away, I got a call from the athletics council. I got a call from the the captain of the Clegs informed me what happened, and this is where I saw an opportunity. I saw
You
where.
were active in it,
Actually,
but
what
it wasn't
experience
for
do you have?
Actually, what experience do you have exactly?
Okay.
Where?
From first year, I was active from the get-go in Students' Union. Every single campaign that the Students' Union has had, I've almost had an active from. I was unable to attend that day because I was incredibly sick at home in bed.
Were you at the LGBT march, I think?
I wasn't at the LGBT march, although I'm incredibly pro-LGBT, and I've been in talks with the LGBT auditor about how we can go forward next year. Although
But you weren't at the march.
I was not at the march, but I think it's incredibly important to look at. You've only been active this year. I've been active for the past 2 years. I think if you were to look at this year, no Paddy, sorry, the question. I think if you look back though, last year as well, overall I've been active in far more things than you have.
I'd love to know, I didn't see
Shocked in Gaelga in first year, I was completely active in the No Berla campaign, which is such an important campaigin. Where I see you shaking your head here, it is an important campaign.
No, I agree that it's a big
everybody with their green hoodies.
However, I've got involved, I've immersed myself in UCD life through many things. Look at my manifesto, look at my manifesto, look at my credibility.
I've looked at it.
And I'm focused on this year. My main question to you, just one second, we'll move on. Look at my manifesto. I'm asking you, what experience do you have running campaigns? And I've got involved in these campaigns. I'm not taking all the credit for it. I helped facilitate it, and that's what I want to bring up. There's not. That's not.
We move on maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think.
I'd just like to say that I've thrown myself in at the deep end in regards to lots of campaigns this year. I was right behind the anti-fees march. I was doing lecture addresses. I was encouraging my own class to go, and I was on the march myself. I was on the LGBT march there last week. And I thought it was quite good. If I was a sabbatical officer, I would have ensured that more students came out on it and there was a larger turnout. I led the campaign against the closure of the print bureau this year, and I thought this is the first time that I've ever seen such a big march.
An expensive campaign.
Wasn't an expensive campaign. There was 300 students out marching in UCD, and that's the first time that there's been such a large march on campus.
My views may be different on the copy print bureau, but I definitely, from watching you there, like you were fighting for something you believe in, and that's something that's definitely worth noting. Even I may not agree with the actual.
It's not the first time. It's what I do in my life. I consider myself an activist, and I get involved with local campaigns in my own area.
Well, my personal opinion is that people join council in first year, come second year, they run for programme office, and they keep going up and up. Sorry, there's a technical issue. They join in first year, they become a class rep, and the whole system. Are we okay?
Yeah.
The whole system indoctrines one person into this kind of power-hungry ladder climbing, just like this wrong model. So what I did was I ran a class rep in second year. I was a class rep for a year, and then I just took a step back and I just said, let's leave the union for now. So I'm actually not a member of the union at the minute. My experience.
You are a member of the union every single.
Sorry, I'm not a member of Students' Council. That's an oversight. I'm vice auditor of the CNE Society. I've ran charitable, social, and academic events. I'm a peer mentor and orientation guide. I work in Centra. I hear all of the students' problems, and I know exactly how to fix them because I do have some experience.
His question there, he was like, where were you for the National March? Well, where were you for the Funeral for Education for USI, and where were you for the Agod Kuhn debate?
So the first thing, to answer your first question, I was running currently when the Funeral for USI on education was. I was helping out with the Save Our Track campaign. If you've probably forgotten, that was when it was happening. That's when it was occurring. I was actively campaigning for students on that day myself, but in another area of student life, for a student facility. That's where you're going. That's where I was. I'll be happy to answer where I was on that day, but I can tell you, I've had a fairly enjoyable time in college, and I've thrown myself into the deep end.
Where were you for the Agod Kuhn debating? It was against, you look as if you don't even know what that was, which is kind of worrying, but basically it is for where all of the people who strongly believe that Irish should be a Cork leaving cert subject.
I've done many, this year has been very
well,
busy. This year's anyway, Ashley, just let me finish. I thoroughly agree that I have helped out with Chalk and Gale. I have thrown myself into the Irish language as well.
I
agree with you. I have agreed with you. But I do believe I have
equally thrown ourselves into things.
No, I don't. No, I'm not. However, Ashley, I'm not trying to do that to you at all. 1 second, I'm just showing how much experience I have and how much I've joined showing how much I've enjoyed college, and
I
through
think we
I've
can all say that we've
experience.
enjoyed college.
No, yeah, exactly, and that's a fair point.
Brilliant.
But I've shown myself how I've run campaigns. I've the necessary experience
We've all-
where I've thrown myself in. You you can't get involved in every campaign. One student
Exactly.
can. However,
Perfect.
I've gotten involved in every single campaign to
As
100%.
have I, except you haven't gotten involved in every single
Okay,
campaign.
yeah, because
You
you
were
pointed
involved
it
in the
to.
Pure campaign anyway.
Pure
Okay,
But
brilliant.
I have
said you were
but
voting
Carl,
to close it on the
Carl,
meeting.
yeah, I know, and I
I
agree with
just
that.
think we're
If
catching
we're
you
going
out
in,
here,
no, you're not.
to be
You're
honest.
not catching me out
Because
whatsoever.
you can't
I'm
say
being
that
completely
you
honest with you,
ran the Save
Ashley.
Our
I'm
Child
being.
campaign when you didn't.
Yes,
and
I
you can't
did.
say that you were involved in every
Talk
single
to
campaign.
any
Well,
member.
you
If we're
haven't
drawing back to the
been.
Save Our
You
Child
only became
campaign.
active this
No, wait.
year.
Can I
One
have
voice,
voice?
please. One voice.
Can I speak firstly?
Yeah,
Please, and then I'll let you speak.
Perfect.
What I'm trying to say is, and then we'll move on from this.
We're gonna 10 seconds Paddy and 10 seconds Ashling, and we're gonna leave it
You're
at strictly
saying-
10 seconds.
You're saying, like, I'm not trying to catch you out, Ashley. I'm just showing how much relevant experience I have for running campaigns in
Brilliant.
college. The second thing is, I never said I did. I never said I wasn't in charge of Save Campaign. I was heavily involved in it. I
Perfect.
was, and it's something I thoroughly enjoyed,
I
and
was
I will stand
heavily
by
involved.
it. So that is exactly what I want to say.
I
Thank
was
you.
heavily involved in the No Barla campaign, so I feel that I've just as much experience in campaigning. I feel passionate about the Irish language, and I was heavily involved in Agóid Cún. For you to come along and just say that you've been involved in every campaign, you haven't. You've been involved in specific ones,
Okay.
but let's not take too
Yeah,
much credit
okay.